Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast.
Hi, everyone. We are very happy to have you here.
Today, we are going to talk about a common problem faced by many English learners.
You understand English. You know many words. You may also understand grammar.
But when someone asks you a question in English, your mind becomes busy.
First, you think of the answer in your native language.
Then, you check the grammar.
And finally, when you are ready to speak, the conversation has already moved on.
Does this happen to you?
Don't worry. You are not alone.
In today's episode, you will learn how to start thinking directly in English without translating every sentence. We will share simple exercises that you can practice every day.
So, relax, listen carefully, and let's begin.
Emma, why do English learners translate everything in their minds?
Because their native language is stronger and more familiar.
That makes sense.
For example, imagine that someone asks, "What did you do yesterday?"
A learner may first create the answer in their native language.
Then, they try to translate it. Yesterday, I went to the market with my friend.
Translation is not always bad.
Yes. It can help when you are learning new vocabulary or difficult grammar.
But if you translate every word during a conversation, your speaking becomes slow.
You may also create unnatural sentences because different languages have different structures.
The goal is not to stop translating immediately.
The goal is to reduce translation slowly and train your brain to connect English words directly with ideas, objects, feelings, and actions.
The first exercise is very simple.
Look around you and name the objects you can see in English.
For example, this is a table. That is a window. There is a phone on the desk.
Do not first say the object's name in your native language.
Look at the object and connect it directly with the English word.
When you see a chair, think chair.
When you see a door, think door.
When you see a cup, think cup.
After naming the objects, describe them.
For example, the cup is white. The door is closed. My phone is next to my laptop.
This exercise may look easy, but it is very powerful.
It teaches your brain to connect real things directly with English.
The second exercise is to describe your actions in English.
You can do this silently in your mind.
For example, while making tea, think, I am boiling water. I am putting tea in the cup. I am adding some sugar.
While traveling, you can think, I am waiting for the bus. There are many people here. The road is busy today.
While studying, think, I am reading a book. This chapter is difficult. I need to take some notes.
You do not need to use advanced vocabulary.
Use the English that you already know.
Thinking in simple English is better than creating a perfect sentence after a long translation.
Many learners try to create long and complicated sentences.
That is one reason they need translation.
Suppose you want to say, because I had a lot of university work yesterday, I was unable to attend the event that my friend invited me to.
That sentence is correct, but it may be difficult to create quickly.
Instead, divide it into short sentences. I was busy yesterday. I had a lot of university work. My friend invited me to an event, but I could not go.
The meaning is almost the same.
And the shorter version is much easier to think and say.
Fluent speakers do not always use difficult sentences.
They often communicate clearly using simple language.
So, do not ask yourself, how can I say this perfectly?
Ask yourself, how can I say this simply?
The next tip is to learn complete phrases.
Why are phrases helpful?
Because you do not have to build every sentence word by word.
For example, do not learn only the word opinion.
Learn phrases such as, in my opinion. What is your opinion? I have a different opinion.
Do not learn only the word agree.
Learn, I agree with you. I completely agree. I'm not sure I agree.
These phrases become ready-made blocks in your mind.
During a conversation, you can use them immediately without translating.
Here are some useful thinking phrases. Let me think. I'm not sure. I think that. It depends. For example, the main reason is.
Practice these phrases again and again until they become automatic.
Another useful exercise is having a short conversation with yourself.
Ask yourself easy questions in English.
For example, what am I doing? How do I feel? What do I need to do today? What did I eat for breakfast?
Then answer in English.
Let's try it. What am I doing?
I am listening to an English podcast.
How do I feel?
I feel relaxed, but a little tired.
What will I do after this podcast?
I will practice speaking for 10 minutes.
You can do this exercise while walking, cooking, traveling, or sitting alone.
At first, your answers may be very short.
That is completely fine.
As your confidence grows, your answers will naturally become longer.
You do not need to think in English all day.
That may be difficult and tiring, especially in the beginning.
Start with 5 minutes every day.
During those 5 minutes, use only English in your mind.
You can describe your room, your day, your plans, or your feelings.
After 1 week, increase the time to 10 minutes.
Later, try 15 or 20 minutes.
This creates an English environment inside your mind.
Regular short practice is more effective than practicing for 2 hours only once a month.
Sometimes, you know what you want to say, but you do not know one English word.
Many learners immediately stop and return to their native language.
Instead, describe the word using simple English.
For example, imagine that you forget the word umbrella.
You can say, it is something we use when it rains.
If you forget the word pharmacist, you can say, a person who prepares and gives medicines. If you forget the word refrigerator, you can say, the machine that keeps food cold.
This skill is called paraphrasing. It helps you continue speaking without translating or becoming silent.
Remember, communication is more important than knowing every word. Listening also helps you think in English.
Listen to short English conversations, podcasts, interviews, or stories.
Choose content that is not too difficult.
When you hear a useful sentence, pause and repeat it.
For example, I didn't expect that. That sounds like a good idea. I'll think about it. What do you mean?
Repeat the sentence several times.
Try to copy the speaker's pronunciation, rhythm, and emotion.
This technique is sometimes called shadowing.
Over time, these natural sentence patterns become part of your thinking.
Now, let's practice together.
Imagine that you have just entered your room.
Look around and think in English.
You can say, my room is quiet. The window is open. My books are on the table. I need to clean my desk.
Now imagine that you are hungry.
Think, I am hungry. I want something simple. Maybe I will make a sandwich. But first, I need to check the kitchen.
Notice that these sentences are short.
They are not difficult, but they allow you to think directly in English.
Now answer this question. What are you going to do this evening?
Pause the podcast and answer aloud in English.
Try to speak for at least 30 seconds.
Do not translate.
Use simple sentences and continue speaking, even if you make mistakes.
Before we finish, let's discuss some common mistakes.
The first mistake is expecting immediate results.
Thinking in English is a habit.
And habits need time to develop.
The second mistake is trying to use advanced vocabulary.
Start with words and phrases you already understand.
The third mistake is being afraid of incorrect grammar.
You will make mistakes, and that is normal.
First, train your brain to produce English.
Then, slowly improve your grammar and vocabulary.
The fourth mistake is practicing only inside your head.
Thinking practice is useful, but you should also speak aloud.
Speaking helps your mouth become familiar with English sounds.
Here is a simple 7-day challenge for you.
Every day, Spend 10 minutes thinking only in English.
For the first 2 minutes, name and describe objects around you.
For the next 3 minutes, describe what you are doing.
For the next 3 minutes, ask yourself questions and answer them.
For the final 2 minutes, speak aloud about your day.
Do this for 7 days.
At the end of the week, record yourself answering this question. How was my week?
Compare your speaking with your first day.
You may be surprised by your improvement.
Let's review what we learned today.
Start by naming objects around you.
Describe your daily actions.
Use short and simple sentences.
Learn complete phrases instead of isolated words.
Ask yourself questions in English.
Create a short English-only period every day.
Describe unknown words instead of stopping.
And listen to natural English regularly.
You do not need to think in perfect English.
You only need to start thinking in simple English.
With regular practice, translation will slowly become less necessary.
And speaking English will become faster, easier, and more natural.
Thank you for listening to today's episode.
Practice the 7-day challenge and share your progress in the comments.
And remember, do not wait until your English is perfect.
Use the English you know today.
Keep listening.
Keep speaking.
And keep improving.
And keep improving.
See you in the next episode.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Fluency Speaking Hub. I'm Emma, and today we are going to talk about one of the most useful speaking skills you can develop in English: how to tell an interesting story. You may already know a lot of English words, you may understand grammar, and you may even be able to answer questions correctly, but when someone asks you to tell them about something that happened in your life, you suddenly do not know where to begin. Perhaps you start giving too many unnecessary details, perhaps you jump from one event to another, or perhaps your story ends before it has even become interesting. If that sounds familiar, do not worry, because storytelling is not only a natural talent. It is also a skill, and like every other skill, it can be learned and improved through practice.
Exactly, Emma. And I think many English learners believe that they need advanced vocabulary to tell a good story. But that is not really true. A simple story told clearly, with emotion, structure, and a little suspense can be much more interesting than a complicated story filled with difficult words. In fact, when native speakers tell stories in everyday conversations, they often use very common vocabulary. What makes the story engaging is the way they organize it, the way they describe their feelings, the way they create curiosity, and the way they make the listener feel as if they were present when the event happened. So, during this episode, we will show you a simple storytelling structure, useful expressions, common mistakes, and a complete example that you can use as a model for your own speaking practice.
And as you listen, try not to focus only on understanding every single word. Pay attention to how we introduce a story, how we move from one event to another, how we make the listener curious, and how we describe reactions. You can also pause the episode after each section and repeat some of the expressions aloud. By the end of this episode, you should feel more confident about telling stories related to travel, school, work, family, embarrassing moments, surprising experiences, or almost any event from your daily life.
Before we learn how to tell a good story, let us first understand why some stories feel boring. Imagine that a friend asks you, "What did you do yesterday?" You reply, "I woke up, I had breakfast, I went to the market, I bought some vegetables, I came home, and then I watched television." Grammatically, there is nothing seriously wrong with that answer, but it does not create much interest because everything sounds equally important. There is no main event, no emotional reaction, no surprise, and no reason for the listener to ask what happened next.
That is such an important point. Many learners tell stories like a list of actions. First, I did this. Then, I did that. After that, I did something else. The problem is not the use of words like first, then, or after that. Those expressions are useful. The problem is that the speaker does not choose which parts deserve attention. A good storyteller understands that not every detail is important. You do not have to describe every minute of your day. You need to choose one central event and build the story around it. For example, instead of saying, "I went to the market and bought vegetables," you could say, "Yesterday, I went to the market to buy a few ordinary things, but something completely unexpected happened while I was standing near the fruit section." Immediately, the listener becomes curious. What happened? Did you meet someone? Did you lose something? Did an argument begin? Did you see something strange? The story has now opened a question in the listener's mind.
And that question is one of the secrets of storytelling. An interesting story makes the listener want to know what comes next. You do not need to create an unbelievable mystery. You simply need to avoid giving away everything in the first sentence. If you begin by saying, "Yesterday, I lost my wallet at the market, but a kind man returned it," the listener already knows the problem and the ending. However, if you say, "Yesterday, I went to the market for 10 minutes, but I ended up spending the next 2 hours looking for something extremely important," the listener naturally wants to continue listening.
Another reason stories become boring is that the speaker gives too much background information before reaching the main event. You may have heard someone begin a story like this: "It happened on a Tuesday," or maybe "It was Wednesday. Actually, I think it was Tuesday because my class usually finishes early on Tuesday, although last month our schedule changed, so perhaps it was Thursday." By this point, the listener may already feel tired. The exact day is probably not important. A better beginning would be, "A few weeks ago, after finishing my class, I had one of the most embarrassing experiences of my life."
So remember, your goal is not to report every fact. Your goal is to guide the listener through an experience.
Now let us introduce a simple 5-part structure that you can use for almost any story. The 5 parts are the hook, the background, the main event, the reaction, and the ending or lesson.
Let us begin with the hook. The hook is the first sentence or first few sentences of your story. Its job is to catch attention. You can begin with a surprising statement, a question, an emotion, or a hint that something unusual happened. Here are some useful hooks. "You will not believe what happened to me yesterday. I had one of the strangest experiences of my life last weekend. Have you ever made a small mistake that turned into a huge problem? I thought it was going to be a normal day, but I was completely wrong. I still feel embarrassed whenever I remember this story."
These expressions are effective because they prepare the listener emotionally. If you say, "I still feel embarrassed whenever I remember this story," the listener knows that an embarrassing event is coming. If you say, "I thought it was going to be a normal day, but I was completely wrong," the listener expects a surprise. The second part is the background. In this section, you explain where you were, who was with you, what you were doing, and what you expected to happen. Keep this part short and relevant. You only need enough information to help the listener understand the situation. For example, last Saturday, I was traveling to another city for an important job interview. I had prepared for several days, and I wanted everything to go perfectly.
The third part is the main event. This is where the problem, surprise, conflict, or unusual experience begins. You can use expressions such as, "Everything was going well until, just as I was about to, suddenly, out of nowhere, that was when I realized, the situation became even worse when." These expressions help you create movement and suspense.
The fourth part is the reaction. This part is often missing from learners' stories, but it is extremely important. Do not only tell us what happened. Tell us how you felt, what you thought, what you said, and how other people reacted. Instead of saying, "I missed the bus," say, "When I saw the bus leaving, my heart dropped. I stood there for a few seconds, staring at it, because I could not believe I had missed it by less than a minute. The event is simple, but the emotional reaction makes it feel real.
And the final part is the ending or lesson. A story should feel complete. Tell the listener how the situation ended, what you learned, or how you feel about it now. You might say, "In the end, everything worked out better than I expected. Looking back, I can laugh about it now. That experience taught me never to leave important things until the last minute. Since that day, I always check my bag twice before leaving home."
So once again, the structure is hook, background, main event, reaction, and ending. You do not need to memorize these words while speaking. With practice, this structure will begin to feel natural.
Let us take a very simple story and improve it step by step. Here is the boring version. Last week, I went to a cafe. I ordered coffee. I sat at a table. Someone took my coffee. Then they gave it back. That story is understandable, but it does not feel interesting. Now let us improve it.
I might tell it like this. Last week, I went to a small cafe near my office because I desperately needed coffee after a long morning. The cafe was crowded, but I finally found an empty table near the window. A few minutes later, the barista called my name, so I collected my drink and placed it on the table. I turned around for only a few seconds to pick up some sugar, but when I looked back, my coffee had disappeared. At first, I thought I had placed it on the wrong table. I looked around, feeling completely confused, and then I noticed a man sitting nearby, calmly drinking from a cup with my name written on it. I did not know whether to laugh or say something, but eventually I walked over and politely told him that I thought he had taken my coffee by mistake. He looked at the cup, saw my name, and immediately became embarrassed. He apologized several times and offered to buy me another one. In the end, we both started laughing, and the cafe gave me a free replacement. It was a small misunderstanding, but it made my stressful morning much more memorable.
Notice what changed. The event itself is still simple. Someone took the wrong coffee. But now we know why Emma was at the cafe, how crowded it was, what she expected, what went wrong, how she felt, what she did, and how the situation ended. The story also includes specific details, such as the name written on the cup and the man calmly drinking the coffee. These details create a picture in the listener's mind.
Specific details are powerful, but you should not include too many. Choose details that support the main event. The fact that the cafe was crowded helps explain how the mistake happened. The fact that the cup had my name on it makes the situation funny. However, the color of the wall, the number of chairs, or the exact price of the coffee would probably not add much to the story.
That is a useful rule. Include details that help the listener see, feel, or understand the event. Remove details that interrupt the story.
Now let us look at some useful expressions for different parts of a story. To introduce the story, you can say, "Something really unusual happened to me recently. I have to tell you about what happened last night. This reminds me of a funny experience I had a few years ago. I was not planning to tell anyone this, but it is too funny to keep secret."
To provide background, you can say, "At the time, I was living in. I had just started. I was on my way to. A friend of mine had invited me to. It was supposed to be a simple trip."
To move the story forward, you can say, "A few minutes later. Not long after that. Meanwhile. Just as we were leaving. Before I had time to react. The next thing I knew."
To create suspense, try expressions such as, "I had no idea what was about to happen. That was when things started to go wrong. I thought the problem was over, but I was mistaken." What happened next surprised everyone. For a moment, everything went completely silent.
And to describe emotions, you can say, "I was absolutely terrified. I felt incredibly relieved. I did not know whether to laugh or cry. I was so embarrassed that I wanted to disappear. My heart was beating so fast. I could not believe what I was seeing. I felt a huge weight lift off my shoulders.
You can also include direct speech. Direct speech makes a story feel alive. Instead of saying, "The man asked me why I was there," you can say, "He looked at me and said, 'Excuse me, are you waiting for someone?'" Instead of saying, "I told my friend that we had made a mistake," you can say, "I turned to my friend and whispered, 'I think we are in the wrong building.'"
When you use direct speech, you do not need to remember the exact words people said. You can recreate the conversation naturally as long as the meaning remains accurate. Daniel, I think this would be a good time for you to tell us a complete story using the structure we have just explained.
All right. I am going to tell you about a journey that began as a normal train ride and turned into one of the most confusing afternoons I have ever experienced. A few years ago, I was visiting a friend who lived in a town about 2 hours away from my city. I had never been there before, but the journey seemed very simple. I only needed to take one train, get off at the final station, and meet my friend outside the station entrance. I checked the schedule the night before, packed a small bag, and even left home earlier than necessary because I wanted to avoid any problems. When I arrived at the station, everything was going perfectly. I bought my ticket, found the correct platform, and boarded the train with plenty of time. The carriage was almost empty, so I chose a seat near the window, put on my headphones, and started listening to music. I remember feeling very relaxed because I believed the difficult part was over. All I had to do was remain on the train until the last stop. After about an hour, the train stopped at a small station. A few passengers got off, and several new passengers entered. I was not paying much attention because I was looking at my phone. Then an elderly man sat opposite me and asked where I was going. I told him the name of the town, and he gave me a slightly confused look. He asked me to repeat it, so I did. Then he looked out of the window, looked back at me, and said, "I think you are traveling in the wrong direction." At first, I assumed he had misunderstood me. I smiled politely and explained that I had checked the train number carefully. He asked to see my ticket, and after reading it, he pointed to one small word printed near the bottom. I had bought a ticket for the correct destination, but I had boarded a train traveling in the opposite direction. For a few seconds, I simply stared at the ticket. My mind went blank. Then I removed my headphones and looked around as if the correct answer might appear somewhere inside the train. I asked the man what I should do, and he told me to get off at the next station, cross to another platform, and wait for a train going back toward the city. He was very kind, but I could see that he was trying not to laugh. The situation became worse when I checked my phone and saw 3 missed calls from my friend. I called him immediately and tried to explain what had happened. Instead of sounding worried, he started laughing so loudly that I had to move the phone away from my ear. He said, "Daniel, the town is only 2 hours from your house. How have you managed to turn it into an international journey?" Eventually, I got off at the next station. It was a tiny station with no cafe, no waiting room, and almost no people. According to the schedule, the next train in the correct direction would arrive in 45 minutes. I sat on a cold bench, feeling embarrassed and annoyed with myself. I kept replaying the moment when I had confidently boarded the wrong train. About 20 minutes later, the elderly man from the train suddenly appeared on the platform. He had also gotten off because he needed to change trains. He sat beside me and said, "Do not worry. Almost everyone gets on the wrong train at least once. The important thing is to notice before reaching the end of the country." That made me laugh, and we began talking. He told me stories about his travels, his family, and the mistakes he had made when he was younger. By the time my train arrived, I was no longer frustrated. I was actually grateful for the conversation. I finally reached my friend's town almost 3 hours later than planned. He was waiting outside the station, holding a piece of paper with my name on it as if he were collecting a lost passenger from an airport. I wanted to be annoyed, but the situation was too funny. We spent the rest of the weekend joking about my terrible sense of direction. Looking back, that experience taught me two things. First, always check the direction of the train, not only the platform number. Second, a mistake does not always ruin your day. Sometimes it creates a better story than the day you originally planned.
That was a great example because the story had a clear beginning, a problem, several reactions, a funny moment, and a lesson at the end. You also used direct speech, which made the characters feel real. I could clearly imagine your friend laughing on the phone and waiting at the station with your name written on a piece of paper.
And notice that I did not use especially difficult vocabulary. Most of the words were simple. The interest came from the sequence of events and the emotional details.
Now let us talk about sounding natural. One mistake English learners sometimes make is trying to use perfect grammar in every sentence while telling a story. They stop frequently, correct themselves, and lose the flow of the story. Accuracy is important, but communication is more important. If you make a small mistake and the listener still understands you, continue speaking.
Yes. Imagine you say, "Yesterday sorry, I went to the library." Correcting yourself once is fine, but if you correct every small mistake, the listener may lose interest. Storytelling needs rhythm. It should feel as if the events are moving forward. A useful strategy is to prepare groups of phrases rather than individual words. For example, "I could not believe what had happened." Before I had time to react. Everything seemed normal at first. That was when I realized. In the end, it all worked out. When you practice these expressions as complete units, they become easier to use naturally.
You should also vary your voice. If every sentence has the same speed and tone, even an exciting story can sound boring. Slow down before an important moment. Pause after a surprising sentence. Speak more quickly when describing confusion or action. Lower your voice when creating suspense. For example, I opened the door slowly, looked inside, and realized that everyone in the room was staring at me. The pauses make the listener wait for the result.
You can also emphasize important words. I was not 10 minutes late. I was 2 hours late. I thought I had lost my phone, but the truth was even more embarrassing. The way you say a sentence can be as important as the words you choose.
Let us now discuss a few common mistakes. The first mistake is starting too far before the main event. Suppose your story is about losing your phone at a restaurant. You do not need to explain everything you did from the moment you woke up. Begin closer to the important moment. Instead of saying, "I woke up at 7, took a shower, had breakfast, answered some messages, and then decided to meet my friend," you could say, "Last Friday, I met a friend for lunch, and halfway through the meal, I realized my phone was missing."
The second mistake is adding too many characters. If several people were involved, use names only when necessary. The listener does not need to remember your friend's brother's neighbor's cousin unless that person plays an important role. The third mistake is repeating the same transition. Some learners say, "and then," in every sentence. I entered the room, and then I sat down, and then the teacher arrived, and then she asked a question, and then everyone looked at me. Try using different transitions. I entered the room and sat down. A few moments later, the teacher arrived. As soon as she asked the first question, everyone turned and looked at me.
The fourth mistake is forgetting the listener. Storytelling is a conversation, not a speech. Look at the listener's reaction. You can involve them by saying, "Can you imagine how embarrassed I felt? Guess what happened next?" You probably think the problem ended there, but it did not. These phrases create a connection.
The fifth mistake is ending too suddenly. A story needs a final sentence that gives the listener a sense of completion. Do not simply say, "So, yes, that happened. Tell us what happened afterward or what you learned." Emma, now it is your turn. Can you tell us an embarrassing story?
Of course, although I still feel slightly uncomfortable whenever I remember it. This happened when I had just started working at a new company. I had only been there for about 2 weeks, so I was still trying to remember everyone's names, understand the office rules, and make a good impression. One morning, my manager told me that an important client would be visiting the office. She asked me to prepare some documents and bring them to the meeting room at 10 o'clock. I wanted to show that I was responsible, so I prepared everything early. At about 5 minutes before 10, I picked up the documents, checked them twice, and walked confidently toward the meeting room. The door was closed, but I could hear people talking inside. I assumed the meeting had already started, so I quietly opened the door and entered. The room suddenly became silent. There were about 12 people sitting around a large table, and every single person turned to look at me. I smiled, walked toward the front of the room, and placed the documents in front of the man who appeared to be leading the meeting. He looked at the papers, looked at me, and said, "Thank you, but I do not think these are for us." I felt confused and explained that my manager had asked me to deliver them for the client meeting. A woman sitting near the window raised her hand and said, "I think the client meeting is in the room next door." At that moment, I realized I had entered a completely different company's meeting. Our office shared the floor with another business, and I had walked through the wrong door without noticing the company name written on the glass. I wanted to disappear. I apologized, collected the documents as quickly as possible, and moved toward the door. Unfortunately, because I was so nervous, I pushed the door even though it needed to be pulled. I pushed it once, then again, while everyone watched. Finally, someone said gently, "You have to pull it." When I eventually escaped from the room, I stood in the hallway for a few seconds, trying to recover. Then I heard laughter behind the door. I could not blame them because the whole situation was ridiculous. I entered the correct meeting room about 2 minutes later. My manager asked why my face was so red, but I simply said I had gone to the wrong room. Later that afternoon, one of my colleagues told me that everyone in the neighboring company had heard about the new employee who had delivered documents to the wrong meeting and then failed to open the door. For the next few weeks, whenever I walked past that office, people smiled at me. At first, I felt embarrassed, but eventually I started smiling back. A few months later, I became friends with one of the people who had been in that meeting, and she told me that my unexpected entrance had been the most entertaining part of their entire day. The experience taught me that embarrassing moments usually feel much bigger to us than they appear to other people. At the time, I thought I had destroyed my professional reputation, but in reality, it was only a harmless mistake, and most people forgot about it quickly.
That was painful and funny at the same time. The part about pushing the door made the story even better because the listener thinks the embarrassment is over, but then another problem happens.
Exactly. Sometimes a story becomes more interesting when the problem gets worse before it gets better. You can use expressions like, "as if that was not bad enough," or, "I thought the embarrassing moment was over, but then."
Now we want you to practice. Think of one real event from your life. It does not need to be dramatic. You can choose a time when you got lost, missed an appointment, met someone interesting, made a mistake, received good news, helped someone, or experienced something unexpected. Use these 5 questions. What is the most interesting sentence I can use to begin? Where was I? And what was I doing? What unexpected event happened? How did I react? How did the story end? And what did I learn?
Let us create a short example together. Imagine the event is missing an important online meeting. The hook could be: I once missed an important meeting even though I was sitting in front of my computer the entire time. The background could be: It was my first online meeting with a new team, and I wanted to appear professional. The main event could be: I joined the meeting link, but after waiting for 20 minutes, I realized I had joined the meeting scheduled for the following week. The reaction could be: My stomach dropped when I saw messages from my manager asking where I was. The ending could be: I joined the correct meeting, apologized, and learned to check both the link and the date before every online appointment.
That simple framework turns a common mistake into a complete story.
Now we will give you several sentences. Listen first, then pause and repeat them aloud. I thought it was going to be a normal day, but I was completely wrong.
Everything was going well until I noticed something strange.
Before I had time to react, the situation became even more confusing.
I did not know whether to laugh, cry, or simply walk away.
For a few seconds, I could not believe what I was seeing.
In the end, everything worked out, but I learned an important lesson.
Looking back, the experience was embarrassing, but it gave me a great story to tell.
You do not need a speaking partner to practice storytelling. One effective exercise is to choose one photograph from your phone. Look at the picture and describe what happened before, during, and after it was taken. Explain who was present, what you were doing, how you felt, and why the moment was memorable.
Another useful method is to record yourself. Choose a simple event and speak for 2 minutes without stopping. Do not write every sentence in advance. Only write 5 keywords related to the structure: hook, background, event, reaction, ending. After recording, listen to yourself and ask a few questions. Did I reach the main event quickly? Did I repeat the same words too often? Did I explain how I felt? Did my story have a clear ending?
You can also tell the same story 3 times. The first time, tell it in 30 seconds. The second time, tell it in 2 minutes. The third time, tell it in 5 minutes. This teaches you how to add or remove details depending on the situation.
That is especially useful because in real conversations, you do not always have the same amount of time. Sometimes someone wants a quick explanation. At other times, they are interested and ask more questions. A flexible storyteller can make the story shorter or longer without losing the main point.
Here is your challenge for today. Think of a moment when something did not go according to plan. Perhaps you missed a bus, forgot someone's birthday, went to the wrong place, lost an item, cooked something badly, or misunderstood a message. Begin with this sentence. I thought everything was under control, but then. Continue the story using the 5-part structure. Try to speak for at least 2 minutes. Use one expression for suspense, one sentence describing your emotions, and one direct quotation.
For example, I thought everything was under control, but then I realized I had sent the message to the wrong person. From there, explain who the message was intended for, who received it, what the message said, how you reacted, and what happened in the end. Do not worry about making the story perfect. Your first goal is to keep speaking and organize your ideas clearly.
Let us review the main lessons from today's episode. A good story does not require advanced vocabulary or an extraordinary event. It needs a clear structure, relevant details, emotional reactions, and a satisfying ending. Begin with a hook, give only the necessary background, introduce the main event, describe how you reacted, and finish by explaining the result or lesson.
Remember that storytelling improves through repetition. The more often you tell stories, the easier it becomes to choose the right details, connect your ideas, and speak with confidence. Start with small everyday experiences. You do not need to wait until something dramatic happens. A missed train, a surprising conversation, an embarrassing mistake, or a kind action from a stranger can all become interesting stories when you tell them well.
And the next time someone asks, "How was your weekend?" do not simply say, "It was good." Give them a story. You might say, "It was good, but something very unexpected happened on Saturday." That one sentence can open the door to a natural and memorable conversation.
Thank you for spending this time with us. Keep practicing, keep speaking, and remember that every experience in your life can become a story.
We will see you in the next episode.
Until then, take care and keep telling your stories in English. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our Fluency Speaking Hub. My name is Emma, and today we are going to learn simple English for awkward social situations.
And I'm Daniel. An awkward situation is a moment when you feel uncomfortable, nervous, or unsure about what to say.
For example, maybe you forget someone's name, arrive late, interrupt another person, or do not understand what someone says.
These situations happen to everyone, including native English speakers, so you do not need to feel embarrassed.
In this episode, we will practice simple and polite sentences that can help you in these difficult moments.
Listen carefully, repeat the important expressions, and try to use them in your daily conversations.
Our first situation is very common. You meet someone for the second time, but you cannot remember their name.
The person remembers your name and says, "Hello, Emma. It is nice to see you again." But you do not remember their name.
You may feel embarrassed, but it is better to ask politely than to pretend that you remember.
You can say, "I'm sorry, I remember meeting you, but I forgot your name. Could you tell me again?"
This sentence is simple, honest, and polite. Most people understand because everyone forgets names sometimes.
Let us listen to a short conversation. "Hello, Emma. It is nice to see you again. How are you?"
Hello. I am doing well, thank you. I'm sorry, I remember meeting you before, but I forgot your name. Could you tell me again?
"Of course. My name is Daniel. We met at Sarah's birthday party last week."
Oh yes, Daniel. I remember now. It is nice to see you again.
No problem. It was a busy party, and there were many people there.
The important sentence is, I'm sorry, but I forgot your name. Could you tell me again?
Now repeat it slowly. "I'm sorry, but I forgot your name. Could you tell me again?" Our second situation is arriving late. Maybe you are late for a meeting, class, dinner, or an appointment with a friend.
When you arrive, do not ignore the situation. Say sorry and give a short explanation.
You can say, "I'm really sorry I'm late. The traffic was very busy, and the bus arrived late."
You can also say, thank you for waiting for me. I hope you did not wait too long.
Let us hear an example.
Daniel, I'm really sorry I'm late. The bus was delayed, and the traffic was very slow today.
That is okay. I arrived only 10 minutes ago, so I did not wait for very long.
Thank you for waiting for me. I will try to leave home earlier next time.
No problem. Let us go inside and order something to drink.
In this situation, you can say, I'm sorry I'm late, and thank you for waiting for me.
Repeat after us. "I'm sorry I'm late, and thank you for waiting for me."
Sometimes, a person speaks very quickly, uses a difficult word, or has an accent that is difficult for you to understand.
Many English learners smile and say, "Yes," even when they do not understand, but this can create more problems.
It is completely okay to ask the person to repeat the sentence or speak more slowly.
You can say, "I'm sorry, I did not understand. Could you please say that again more slowly?"
You can also ask, what does that word mean, when you hear a new or difficult word.
Let us practice with a conversation. "Emma, please send me the documents before the end of the day."
I'm sorry, I did not understand. Could you please say that again more slowly?
"Of course. Please send me the documents before you finish work today."
Okay, I understand now. I will send the documents before 5 o'clock.
Perfect. Thank you for asking me to repeat it.
The useful sentence is, I'm sorry, I did not understand. Could you please say that again?
Now repeat. I'm sorry, I did not understand. Could you please say that again?
Sometimes, you are talking to someone, but suddenly both people stop speaking.
The room becomes quiet, and you do not know how to continue the conversation.
You do not need to ask a difficult question. A simple question about their day, work, studies, or hobbies can start the conversation again. You can ask, how was your day, or what do you like to do in your free time?
You can also talk about the place and say, this is a nice place. Have you been here before? Let us hear an example.
This cafe is very quiet today. Have you been here before?
Yes, I came here once with my brother. I like the coffee, and the food is also very good.
That sounds nice. What do you usually order when you come here?
I usually order coffee and a sandwich. What do you like to order?
I like tea, but today I think I will try the coffee.
A simple question helped Emma and Daniel continue their conversation.
Remember, you can say, how was your day, or have you been here before? Sometimes, two people begin speaking at the same time, especially in a group conversation or an online meeting.
If you interrupt someone, you can apologize and allow the other person to continue.
You can say, I'm sorry, I did not mean to interrupt you. Please continue.
This sentence shows that you are polite and that you respect the other person. Let us listen to a short example.
Yesterday, I went to the market with my sister, and we saw.
I also went to the market yesterday. Oh, I'm sorry. I did not mean to interrupt you. Please continue.
Thank you. I was saying that we saw a new clothing shop near the market.
That sounds interesting. I would like to visit that shop next weekend.
The useful sentence is, I'm sorry, I did not mean to interrupt you. Please continue.
Repeat after us. I'm sorry, I did not mean to interrupt you. Please continue. Sometimes, a friend invites you to a party, dinner, meeting, or another event, but you cannot go.
You should thank the person for the invitation and then give a clear but polite answer.
You can say, thank you very much for inviting me, but I'm sorry, I cannot come on Saturday.
You can also say, I already have plans, but I hope you have a wonderful time.
Let us hear an example. Emma, I am having a small dinner at my house on Saturday. Would you like to come?
Thank you very much for inviting me, but I'm sorry, I cannot come on Saturday because I already have plans.
That is okay. Maybe you can join us next time.
Yes, I would like that. I hope you and your friends have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, Emma. I will tell you about it later.
The useful sentence is, thank you for inviting me, but I'm sorry, I cannot come. Sometimes, you use the wrong word or your sentence sounds rude, even when you do not want to be rude.
Do not panic. You can correct the sentence and explain what you really mean.
You can say, I'm sorry, that is not what I meant. Let me say it again.
After that, say the sentence again in a clearer and kinder way. Here is an example.
Daniel, your new haircut looks very strange.
Strange? Do you not like it?
I'm sorry, that is not what I meant. I wanted to say that your haircut looks very different and modern.
Oh, I understand now. Thank you. I wanted to try something new.
Yes, it looks good. I just used the wrong word.
The useful sentence is, I'm sorry, that is not what I meant. Let me say it again.
Repeat it slowly. I'm sorry, that is not what I meant. Let me say it again. Sometimes, you introduce yourself to someone, but they tell you that you have already met before. This can feel embarrassing, but you can apologize and ask where you met.
You can say, I'm sorry, you look familiar, but I do not remember where we met. The other person will usually explain, and then you can continue the conversation normally. Let us listen to an example.
Hello, my name is Emma. I do not think we have met before.
Actually, we met at Maria's birthday party last month.
Oh, I'm sorry. You looked familiar, but I did not remember where we met.
That is okay. There were many people at the party, and we only talked for a few minutes.
Yes, I remember now. We talked about university and traveling.
That is right. It is nice to see you again.
Now it is time for speaking practice. We will describe a situation, and you should try to say the correct sentence.
The first situation is this: you remember the person, but you forget their name. What can you say?
You can say, I'm sorry, but I forgot your name. Could you tell me again?
The second situation: you arrive late, and your friend is waiting for you.
You can say, I'm really sorry I'm late. Thank you for waiting for me.
The third situation: someone speaks very quickly, and you do not understand.
You can say, I'm sorry, I did not understand. Could you please say that again more slowly?
The fourth situation: you interrupt another person while they are speaking.
You can say, I'm sorry, I did not mean to interrupt you. Please continue.
The fifth situation: you cannot go to a friend's party.
You can say, thank you for inviting me, but I'm sorry, I cannot come.
The last situation: you say something that sounds rude.
You can say, I'm sorry, that is not what I meant. Let me say it again. Before we finish, let us quickly review the important sentences from today's episode.
When you forget a name, say, I'm sorry, but I forgot your name. Could you tell me again?
When you arrive late, say, I'm really sorry I'm late. Thank you for waiting for me.
When you do not understand, say, could you please say that again more slowly?
When there is a long silence, ask, how was your day, or, have you been here before?
When you interrupt someone, say, I'm sorry, I did not mean to interrupt you. Please continue.
When you cannot accept an invitation, say, thank you for inviting me, but I'm sorry, I cannot come.
When you say the wrong thing, say, that is not what I meant. Let me say it again.
Awkward social situations are normal, and they happen to everyone. You should not stop speaking English because you are afraid of making a mistake.
Take a breath, speak slowly, and use the simple expressions from this episode. You do not need perfect grammar to have a good conversation.
The more you practice, the more comfortable and confident you will feel when speaking English with other people.
Thank you very much for listening to today's episode. Practice these sentences and try to use one of them in a real conversation this week.
Keep learning, keep practicing, and do not be afraid of awkward moments. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast, the place where you improve your English through simple and natural conversations.
Hi, everyone. We are very happy to have you here today.
Daniel, have you ever been speaking English and suddenly forgotten an important word?
Oh, yes. Many times. I know what I want to say, but the English word disappears from my mind.
And what happens next?
Sometimes I stop speaking. Sometimes I become nervous. And sometimes I say, sorry, my English is bad.
That happens to many English learners. But forgetting one word does not mean that your English is bad.
Exactly. Even native English speakers sometimes forget words.
In today's episode, you will learn how to continue speaking when you do not know, or cannot remember, the right English word.
We will teach you useful phrases, simple strategies, and natural examples.
So relax, listen carefully, and repeat the sentences with us. The first rule is very simple: do not stop the entire conversation because of one missing word.
Many learners believe that they need the perfect word before they can continue.
But communication is not about using perfect words. It is about helping the other person understand your meaning.
For example, imagine that I forget the word umbrella.
What would you do?
I could say, it is something you use when it is raining.
Perfect. You did not use the word umbrella, but I understood you.
I could also say, it is the thing you hold over your head in the rain.
Exactly. This technique is called describing the word.
Remember, when the word disappears, describe its purpose, appearance, location, or action.
One of the most useful phrases is, It's a thing that.
Let's hear some examples.
Suppose you forget the word charger. You can say, it's a thing that you use to give power to your phone.
Suppose you forget the word refrigerator. You can say, it's a thing that keeps food cold.
Suppose you forget the word scissors. You can say, it's a thing that you use to cut paper.
Now repeat after me. It's a thing that.
Again. It's a thing that.
Very good.
For a person, you can say, it's someone who.
For example, it's someone who repairs cars.
The answer is a mechanic.
Another example, it's someone who designs buildings.
That person is an architect.
You can also describe the appearance of something.
You can also describe the appearance of something. Useful phrases include, it looks like. It is shaped like. It is made of. It is usually.
Imagine that you forget the word ladder.
You could say, it is a long object with steps. You use it to climb up.
Good. Now imagine that you forget the word wallet.
I could say, it is a small thing, usually made of leather, where you keep money and cards.
Excellent. The listener can probably guess the word.
Another helpful strategy is to explain where the object is normally found.
You can explain where the object is normally found. You can use these phrases. You can find it in. You usually see it at. It is normally kept near.
For example, suppose you forget the word checkout.
You could say, it is the place in a supermarket where you pay for your shopping.
Suppose you forget the word platform.
It is the place at a train station where you wait for the train.
Very clear.
Sometimes you know a similar word, but not the exact word.
That is completely fine. You can say, it is similar to. It is a kind of. It is like. It is the opposite of.
For example, imagine that you forget the word scooter.
You can say, it is like a small motorcycle.
Imagine that you forget the word sour.
You could say, it is a taste like lemon.
Or if you forget the word generous, you might say, it is the opposite of selfish. It describes someone who likes giving things to others.
That explanation is longer than one word, but it communicates the meaning successfully. You do not always need to find the word yourself. You can ask the listener to help you.
Here are some natural phrases. What do you call it in English? What's the word for it? How do you say this in English? I can't remember the word. The word is on the tip of my tongue.
The word is on the tip of my tongue means that you know the word, but you cannot remember it at that moment.
Let's hear a short conversation.
I need to buy the thing we use to open a bottle. What do you call it in English?
A bottle opener?
Yes. A bottle opener. Thank you.
Notice that Emma did not become embarrassed. She calmly described the object and asked for help.
That is how real communication works.
You can also use general words when the exact word is missing.
Common general words include thing, stuff, place, person, machine, tool, part.
For example, please pass me that kitchen tool.
Or, I went to a place where they repair phones.
Or, there's a small part inside the machine that is broken.
These words are not always specific, but they allow you to continue speaking.
However, try to add a description after the general word.
Instead of only saying, give me that thing, say, give me that thing we use to open cans. Sometimes you use the wrong word and realize your mistake. You do not need to panic. You can correct yourself naturally by saying,
Sorry, I meant. Let me say that again. That's not the word I wanted. What I'm trying to say is.
For example, I went to the pharmacy, the bakery, to buy some bread.
Another example. He was very angry. Actually, angry is not the right word. He was disappointed.
Self-correction is a normal part of speaking.
It shows that you are thinking carefully, not that you are a bad English speaker.
Now let's listen to a longer conversation.
Imagine that Emma is describing a problem in her apartment, but she does not know the word faucet.
Daniel, there is a problem in my kitchen.
What happened?
The thing above the sink is leaking.
The pipe?
Not exactly. It is the part where the water comes out.
Oh, the faucet?
Yes, the faucet. Water keeps coming out even when I turn it off.
You should contact your landlord or a plumber.
A plumber is the person who repairs water pipes, right?
Exactly.
Did you notice what happened? I did not know the word faucet, but I still explained the problem.
You gave information about its location and purpose. It is above the sink. It is the part where water comes out.
Those clues helped you understand me.
Now it is your turn to practice.
We will give you a word. Imagine that you have forgotten it. Try to describe it without saying the word.
The first word is toothbrush.
Pause and describe it.
You could say, it is a small thing you use to clean your teeth.
The second word is elevator.
You could say, it is a machine that takes people up and down inside a building.
The third word is headphones.
You could say, they are something you wear over or inside your ears to listen to music.
The fourth word is receipt.
You could say, it is a small piece of paper you receive after paying for something.
The fifth word is neighbor.
You could say, it is a person who lives near you or next to your house.
Let's review today's most useful phrases.
Repeat after us. I don't know the exact word, but
It's a thing that.
it's someone who.
It is used for.
It looks like.
It is similar to.
It is the opposite of.
You can find it in.
What do you call it in English?
The word is on the tip of my tongue.
What I'm trying to say is,
The next time you forget an English word, do not immediately stop speaking. Describe the object, explain its purpose, compare it with something similar, or ask the listener for help. Remember, successful communication does not require perfect vocabulary.
your goal is not to speak without mistakes. Your goal is to express your meaning and keep the conversation moving.
Here is your speaking challenge for today. Choose 5 objects in your room and describe them without saying their names. For example, it is a thing that gives light. A lamp.
Exactly. This exercise will train your brain to communicate even when a word is missing.
Thank you for listening to today's episode.
Keep practicing, keep speaking, and do not let one missing word end your conversation.
See you in the next episode. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Fluency Conversation Hub. I'm Emma, and today we are going to talk about a problem that many English learners experience, especially when they are speaking with someone in real life. You understand the question, you know what the other person is saying, and you probably have many ideas inside your mind, but when it is your turn to answer, you only say one word, such as yes, no, fine, maybe, or sometimes. Then the conversation becomes quiet, the other person does not know what to say next, and you may start feeling nervous because you think your English is not good enough.
And I'm Daniel. I completely understand that situation because giving short answers can feel safe when you are learning English. When someone asks, "Did you enjoy your weekend?" it is much easier to say, yes, than to explain where you went, what you did, who you met, and how you felt. However, one-word answers can make a conversation feel cold or uncomfortable, even when you do not mean to be unfriendly. The good news is that you do not need advanced vocabulary or perfect grammar to give better answers. You only need to learn how to add 1 or 2 useful details.
Exactly. Today, we are going to show you how to change short, one-word answers into natural, interesting, and confident responses. We will give you simple formulas, real-life examples, and speaking practice that you can use in daily conversations, at university, at work, while traveling, or when meeting new people.
So stay with us until the end, because we will also do a challenge in which Emma asks me several common questions. I will first give a boring one-word answer and then improve it into a much better response.
Let us begin with a very simple example. Daniel, how are you today?
Fine.
And that is the end of the conversation.
Exactly. My answer is grammatically correct, and there is nothing wrong with the word fine, but it does not give you anything to respond to. You asked me how I was, I said, fine, and now you have to work hard to find another question.
Now let us try the same question again. Daniel, how are you today?
I'm doing quite well, although I felt a little tired this morning because I stayed up late finishing some work. After having breakfast and taking a short walk, I started feeling much more energetic, so now I'm ready for the day.
That answer is much better because now I have several things I can ask about. I can ask why you stayed up late, what kind of work you were doing, where you went for your walk, or what you had for breakfast. A longer answer naturally gives the other person more opportunities to continue the conversation.
This is one of the most important ideas in today's lesson. A good answer does not simply answer the question. A good answer also gives the other person something to talk about.
And remember, you do not always need to give a very long answer. Sometimes one extra sentence is enough. Instead of saying, fine, you can say, I'm fine, but I've had a very busy morning. That small detail immediately makes your answer sound more natural.
Here is a simple formula that you can use whenever someone asks you a question. First, give your direct answer. Second, add a reason or detail. Third, return the conversation by asking a question.
Let us call this the answer, detail, return formula.
For example, imagine someone asks, do you like coffee? A one-word answer would be, yes.
Using the formula, you could say, yes, I really enjoy coffee, especially in the morning because it helps me feel more awake. What about you? Do you prefer coffee or tea?
The direct answer is, yes, I really enjoy coffee. The detail is, especially in the morning because it helps me feel more awake. Then you return the conversation by asking, what about you?
This formula is useful because you do not have to create a perfect speech every time someone asks you a question. You only need to remember 3 simple steps: answer the question, add a detail, and ask something back. Let us practice with some common questions. Daniel, do you like traveling?
Yes.
That answer is correct, but it is too short. Can you improve it?
Yes, I love traveling because it gives me the chance to experience different cultures, taste new food, and see places that I have only watched in videos. I especially enjoy visiting cities where I can walk around, talk to local people, and discover small restaurants that are not very popular with tourists.
That sounds natural and interesting. Now the listener knows that you like culture, food, walking, and local experiences.
Also, notice that I did not use extremely difficult vocabulary. I used common words, but I connected them to create a more complete answer.
Here is another example. Imagine someone asks, do you watch movies? A short answer is, yes. A better answer is, yes, I watch movies quite often, especially on weekends when I have more free time. I usually enjoy mystery and comedy films because I like stories that either make me think or help me relax after a stressful week.
And you can make the answer even more conversational by adding, have you watched anything interesting recently?
That final question is very useful because it moves the conversation away from an interview style. You are no longer waiting for the other person to keep asking you questions. You are actively participating.
Many learners also struggle when the answer is no. They think that after saying no, there is nothing else to add. However, you can always explain why, mention an alternative, or talk about a related experience.
For example, Daniel, do you play football?
No.
Improve it.
No, I don't play football because I have never been very good at team sports. However, I enjoy watching important matches with my friends, especially when everyone becomes excited and starts discussing which team will win.
Very good. You said no, but you added information about watching football and spending time with friends.
Here is another example. Someone asks, "Do you enjoy cooking?" Instead of saying, "No," you could say, "Not really. I can prepare a few simple meals, but I usually do not enjoy spending a long time in the kitchen. I prefer making quick dishes that do not require too many ingredients."
You can also mention something you prefer. For example, I don't really enjoy cooking, but I love trying food from different restaurants.
Exactly. When your answer is negative, try using phrases such as, "Not really because I don't usually, but I do enjoy. I haven't tried it yet, although it's not really my thing, but..."
These phrases sound much more natural than a simple no. Now let us talk about one of the most common one-word answers in English, fine. When someone asks, "How are you?" many learners automatically say, "Fine." Native speakers also use this answer, but if you always say, "Fine," your conversations can become repetitive.
You can replace fine with more specific answers depending on how you actually feel. You could say, "I'm doing well. I've had a productive morning, so I'm feeling quite positive." You could say, "I'm a little tired today because I didn't sleep very well last night, but I'm managing." You could say, "I'm feeling great because I finally finished a project that had been taking up most of my time."
You can even be honest without sharing too much personal information. For example, "I've had a difficult day, but I'm hoping the evening will be more relaxing."
That is an important point. Giving a longer answer does not mean that you must tell people every private detail about your life. You can still choose how much information you want to share.
For example, if you do not want to explain everything, you can say, "I'm a bit stressed because I have a lot going on at the moment, but I'll be okay." That answer is honest, natural, and still private.
One of the easiest ways to make an answer longer is to use the word because.
Exactly. If you do not know what else to say, give your answer and then explain why.
For example, "Do you like studying English?" "Yes, because it helps me communicate with people from different countries." "Are you busy today?" "Yes, because I have several assignments to finish before tomorrow." "Do you like rainy weather?" "Not really, because I prefer going outside when the weather is bright and sunny."
The word "because" forces your brain to add a reason. Once you add a reason, your answer immediately becomes more complete.
Let us practice. "Emma, do you enjoy waking up early?"
Yes, because the morning is usually quiet, and I can organize my thoughts before the day becomes busy. I also feel more productive when I complete important tasks before lunchtime.
"Do you like shopping?"
Sometimes, because I enjoy looking for useful things, but I do not like crowded shopping centers. If I need something specific, I usually prefer shopping online because it saves time. That is another useful technique. You do not always have to choose only yes or no. You can say, sometimes, usually, not always, it depends, or only when. Another common one-word answer is maybe. Imagine that your friend asks, "Are you coming to the party tonight?" and you answer, "Maybe."
The problem is that your friend still does not understand your situation. Are you busy? Are you unsure about the time? Do you not want to go? Are you waiting for someone else?
A better answer would be, maybe. I still have some work to finish, but if I complete it before 7, I'll probably come for an hour.
Or you could say, I'm not completely sure yet because I may need to help my brother this evening. I should be able to give you a definite answer later.
These answers are much clearer and more respectful because the other person understands why you are uncertain.
One-word answers can be especially damaging during a job interview. An interviewer may ask, are you comfortable working in a team? If you only say, yes, the interviewer learns almost nothing about you.
A stronger answer would be, yes, I'm comfortable working in a team because I enjoy discussing ideas and learning from people with different skills. In my previous university project, I worked with 4 other students, and we divided the work according to each person's strengths. That experience taught me how important communication and responsibility are when working toward a shared goal.
That answer includes a direct response, a reason, and an example. Examples are powerful because they prove that your answer is based on real experience.
Here's another interview question. Can you work under pressure? A weak answer is, yes. A stronger answer is, yes, I can work under pressure, although I try to stay organized so that stressful situations do not become overwhelming. When I have several deadlines, I make a list of priorities, divide larger tasks into smaller steps, and focus on completing one important task at a time.
You do not need to memorize these exact answers. Instead, learn the structure, answer, explain, and give an example.
Now imagine you are meeting someone for the first time. They ask, where are you from? You answer, Pakistan. That answer is not wrong, but it does not help the conversation move forward.
You could say, I'm from Pakistan, and I grew up in a city in Punjab. It is a busy place with friendly people and amazing food, although the summers can become extremely hot.
Now the other person can ask about Punjab, the food, the weather, or your hometown.
If someone asks, what do you do? Do not simply say, student. You could say, I'm currently a university student, and I'm studying pharmacy. I chose this field because I'm interested in how medicines work and how pharmacists can help patients use them safely.
Again, a few details make your answer sound confident and complete.
Sometimes learners give one-word answers because they need more time to think. They know they should say more, but they cannot organize their thoughts quickly.
In that situation, use a thinking phrase. These expressions give you a few extra seconds. That's an interesting question. Let me think about that for a moment. I've never really thought about it, but I would probably say, that depends on the situation.
For example, if someone asks, what is your biggest goal for the future? You do not have to answer immediately. You can say, that's an interesting question. I would probably say that my biggest goal is to build a career that allows me to continue learning while also helping other people. I'm still exploring different possibilities, but I know that I want to do meaningful work. The thinking phrase makes you sound calm and thoughtful instead of nervous.
A conversation is not a test. You do not have to keep answering question after question. You should also ask questions.
A useful phrase is, what about you? For example, I usually spend my weekends relaxing at home or meeting a few close friends. What about you? I've been studying English for nearly 2 years, although I only started practicing speaking recently. How long have you been learning? I prefer tea because coffee sometimes makes me feel restless. What do you normally drink in the morning?
When you ask a follow-up question, the conversation becomes balanced. You show the other person that you are interested in them, and you also get a short break from speaking. Let us demonstrate a conversation filled with one-word answers. Daniel, imagine that we have just met at a university event. Hi, I'm Emma. What's your name?
Daniel.
Nice to meet you, Daniel. Are you a student here?
Yes.
What are you studying?
Business.
Do you enjoy it?
Sometimes.
Are you from this city?
No.
Did you come here alone?
Yes.
Okay, I think I need to go now.
That conversation felt uncomfortable because Emma had to do all the work. Even though I was answering every question, I did not show much interest or personality.
Let us try it again. Hi, I'm Emma. What's your name?
Hi Emma, I'm Daniel. It's nice to meet you. I actually arrived a little early, so I've been walking around trying to understand where everything is.
Nice to meet you too, Daniel. Are you a student here?
Yes, I'm studying business management. I'm in my second year, and this semester I'm taking a course on digital marketing, which has been much more interesting than I expected. What about you?
I'm studying communication. Do you enjoy your course?
Most of the time, yes. Some subjects involve a lot of theory, which can be difficult, but I really enjoy group projects because they give me a chance to work on practical ideas. Are you enjoying communication?
Yes, especially the courses related to media and public speaking. Are you from this city?
No, I moved here last year from a smaller town about 3 hours away. Living in a big city was overwhelming at first, but now I enjoy having more places to visit and more opportunities to meet people.
That conversation feels completely different. Daniel sounds friendly, interested, and confident, even though he is using relatively simple English.
Now it is time for our speaking challenge. Emma will ask me 5 common questions. First, I will give a one-word answer. Then I will improve it.
Question 1. Did you have a good weekend?
Yes. A better answer would be, yes, I had a really enjoyable weekend. I spent Saturday relaxing at home and watching a documentary, and on Sunday I met an old friend for lunch. We had not seen each other for several months, so we had a lot to talk about.
Question 2. Do you exercise?
Sometimes. A better answer would be, I exercise 2 or 3 times a week, although I'm not always consistent. I usually go for a walk or do a short workout at home because I find it easier than going to a gym.
Question 3. Are you good at cooking?
No. A better answer would be, not really. I can cook a few basic dishes, but I still need to follow recipes carefully. I'm trying to improve because eating restaurant food every day can become expensive.
Question 4. What kind of music do you like?
Pop. A better answer would be, I mostly listen to pop music because I like songs with energetic rhythms and memorable lyrics. However, when I'm studying, I usually listen to calm instrumental music because it helps me concentrate.
Question 5. Are you busy tomorrow?
Maybe. A better answer would be, I might be busy in the morning because I have a meeting and a few tasks to complete, but I should be free after 3 in the afternoon. Why do you ask?
Excellent. Now, listeners, pause the podcast after each question and create your own answer. Remember to give your direct answer, add at least one detail, and ask a question back when possible.
Before we finish, here are 5 phrases that can help you expand almost any answer. Number 1. The main reason is that. Number 2. For example. Number 3. It depends, but usually. Number 4. I used to, but now. Number 5. What about you?
Let us put them into answers. I enjoy studying at night. The main reason is that my house is quieter, and I can concentrate without interruptions. I like learning through videos. For example, I often watch short lessons and repeat the sentences aloud. It depends, but usually I spend my weekends at home because I need time to rest. I used to feel very nervous when speaking English, but now I try to focus on communicating instead of being perfect. I've never traveled abroad, but I would love to visit another country in the future. What about you? The next time someone asks you a question in English, do not put pressure on yourself to create a perfect answer. Simply try to add one more sentence. Instead of yes, say yes, because. Instead of no, say not really, but. Instead of fine, explain how your day has been. Instead of maybe, explain what is making you uncertain.
Your goal is not to speak for 5 minutes every time someone asks a simple question. Your goal is to give enough information to keep the conversation alive.
Longer answers will also improve your English because they force you to connect ideas, explain reasons, describe experiences, and use more vocabulary. The more you practice, the easier it will become.
Here is your challenge for today. Choose 5 common questions such as, how are you? What do you do? What did you do yesterday? What kind of food do you like? And, what are your plans for the weekend? Record yourself answering each question for at least 20 seconds.
Then listen to your recording and ask yourself, did I give a clear answer? Did I add a reason or example? Did I give the listener something they could respond to?
You may feel uncomfortable at first, but that is completely normal. Speaking confidently is a skill, and every skill becomes stronger through practice.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. We hope this lesson helps you stop giving one-word answers and start having longer, more natural English conversations.
Keep practicing, keep speaking, and remember that you do not need perfect English to have a meaningful conversation.
We'll see you in the next episode.
Until then, take care and keep your conversations going. Goodbye.
Goodbye.